Welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. My name is Jim, and podcast is sponsored by NFLDraftFanatics.com. This episode, we are going to focus on the Week 7 matchup between Alabama and South Carolina. This is definitely going to be a good game. I am sure Alabama wants to avenge their loss from last week, and there's definitely some players that we want to pay attention to here. So at the top of the draft board for Alabama is Jalen Milroe. So the bigger question to me, or the biggest question of the draft to me, is what are the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks and what order will they be taken in? Jalen Milroe is in the middle of that conversation. For me, he is quarterback 2. How high does he go? We definitely want to see Jalen Milroe show out in the game this week. But in addition to that, if we look just below Jalen Milroe on the Alabama player board, we have guard Tyler Booker, center Parker Brailsford, and guard Jaden Roberts. And they're going to be blocking TJ Sanders and Tonka Hemingway from South Carolina. And TJ Sanders is going to be either a round 2 or a round 3 player in all likelihood. And Booker, Brailsford are definitely looking to be in that same tier of players. So a question would be, who comes off the board first, Tyler Booker or TJ Sanders? Which of the two gets drafted first? This game could have a lot to do with who's going to be drafted higher. I have Booker higher on the board. Booker is a possible first-round pick. But that's definitely a game within the game to take a look at. A little bit further down the board, if you look, there is running back Rocket Raheem Sanders from South Carolina. And if you look, there's going to be 2 safeties to look at from Alabama, Keon Sabb and Malachi Moore. So running backs against safeties, like that matchup, you look a little bit further down, there is linebacker Deontay Lawson from Alabama. So we have a running back going up against a linebacker and safety. And anybody that follows the podcast knows I like it when I can see a running back go up against a safety or a running back go up against a linebacker, because those players are going to be matched up against each other frequently during the game. Linebackers and safeties are chess pieces for defensive coordinators to try to get the matchup that they want to favor the defense. So we definitely want to pay attention to that. A little bit further down, we talked about the offensive lineman from Alabama, but we also have another defensive lineman from South Carolina, DeAndre Jules. So Jules, I do not have a draftable grade on, so he's far enough down the board that the grade isn't one of the top 260. But if he shows out during the game, either Jules or Debo Williams, or even Alex Huntley from South Carolina right below that, I think this is a game where the reserve defensive lineman from South Carolina can significantly improve their draft stock. And a couple of guys I want to give a shout out to. Kyle Kennard, so even though he's on the bottom of the South Carolina board, the screen capture is a preseason board. To me, Kyle Kennard, based upon what he has done earlier in the season, is definitely looking at a draftable grade. And the question I think that we should be asking ourselves about Kennard is he day 2? Is he day 3? But he's going to be in that conversation. So I'm interested to see how Kennard plays against some of the offensive linemen from Alabama. Okay. And then we have some other players that we should mention. So Jeremy Bernard, the wide receiver from Alabama, I'm looking at a day 3 grade on him. Where does he go? Deontay Lawson, the linebacker from Alabama, I would say that he has significantly improved his draft stock. And then a little bit further down is linebacker Jihad Campbell. So right now I have Jihad Campbell looking as a possible first-round pick, but definitely a second-round grade at minimum. So he's already had a good enough season where he is moving up draft boards. So this is the Mrs. R Relevant podcast. We have content every day on the NFL draft all year long. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the channel for more content. The podcast is sponsored by NFLDraftFanatics.com. NFLDraftFanatics.com is the only interactive mock draft simulator. And what that means is the player boards at NFLDraftFanatics.com are dynamic, meaning that as users draft players, they move up the board. If you skip drafting a player, they move down the board. And it is a completely different mock drafting experience than any other simulator out there. Each time you come to the site, the experience is going to be different because the users between your visits have changed the player boards enough that you're going to be seeing a different experience, especially in rounds 2 through 7 on the simulator. So my name is Jim. I'm with NFLDraftFanatics.com. You can follow me on X at NFLDraftFanatic. No I in Fanatic on my Twitter. Or you can interact with us by commenting on the YouTube. We definitely love the YouTube comments. The users are posting about players. What do the player boards look like? For example, the last several weeks, we didn't actually show the player lists, and feedback has said that people want to see the player lists that we're looking at. So I've added those back in. So feedback on the podcast is always welcome. My name is Jim. On behalf of NFLDraftFanatics.com, thank you very much for watching this episode. And remember, every day is draft day if you have the right attitude. Thank you very much, and enjoy your afternoon.